Chapter 21. The Gospel of Leland. Margrave. Dr. Leland Margrave's office at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration was nothing short of a shrine to himself. Floor-to-ceiling mahogany bookshelves, stocked with first editions and pristine hardcovers, most of which he had never actually read. But they looked damn impressive. Framed diplomas and commendations adorned the walls, angled strategically to catch the light. In the center, above his oversized oak desk, hung the pièce de résistance, a massive oil painting of himself, commissioned 5 years ago, in which he was depicted gazing stoically toward the horizon, arms folded, exuding the confidence of a man who had never once questioned the infallibility of his own intellect. Across from him, perched eagerly on the edge of a leather chair, sat Nigel Ashwood, his ever-loyal, ever-nodding assistant.
Nigel was the perfect audience. A spindly man with a receding hairline and an unfortunate case of perpetual dampness, he absorbed Leland's wisdom with the wide-eyed devotion of a medieval scribe, recording the words of a prophet. His sole purpose, as far as Leland was concerned, was to affirm, enthusiastically, obsequiously, everything Leland said. And right now, Leland was on a roll. He leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers. "You see, Nigel, this—" He gestured grandly to the NOAA-issued monitor on his desk, which was paused on a clip from his latest news segment. "This is why we have scientists in the world. To correct the endless stream of hysteria the unwashed masses are so eager to drown in." Nigel nodded furiously, his damp forehead glistening under the recessed lighting. "Couldn't agree more, sir," he said, his voice quivering with reverence. "The public does have such an insatiable appetite for the dramatic, doesn't it?" Leland smirked, pleased. "Precisely, Nigel, precisely." He waved a hand. "You have people, lay people, looking at completely natural geological formations and screeching about lost cities, about secret knowledge, about mystical energies." He scoffed. "Mystical energies? Good Lord, can you imagine? I mean, these are the same people who think crystals can heal them, for heaven's sake." Nigel let out a high, sycophantic laugh, just the right amount of eager. "It's laughable, sir. Absolutely laughable." Leland chuckled, adjusting his silk tie, deep blue, the color of authority. "You know what it is, Nigel? It's human nature," he continued, adopting the tone of a seasoned lecturer, as if bestowing wisdom upon his less enlightened underling. "People need to believe in something larger than themselves. They crave mystery, magic, the idea that the universe is filled with grand, unknowable secrets." He lifted his chin, exhaling sharply. "Well, I'm sorry to say, but the universe doesn't care about their romantic delusions. It is chaotic, indifferent, utterly devoid of meaning. And yet here we are, educated men, having to constantly rein in the superstitious drivel of the masses." Nigel sighed wistfully, as if burdened by the weight of humanity's ignorance. "A tragedy, sir," he murmured. "Truly." Leland let the moment settle, basking in the glow of his own brilliance. "And then, of course, you have the usual suspects in the academic world," he said, rolling his eyes. "The conspiracy mongers, the fringe lunatics masquerading as scholars." He scoffed, shaking his head. "You know the type." Nigel nodded vigorously. "Oh, absolutely, sir. Those—" He hesitated, searching for the right insult, then settled on charlatans. Leland smiled. "Yes, Nigel, charlatans." He glanced back at the paused video, his own face frozen mid-sentence, radiating authority. "You know, I truly believe," he said, voice brimming with self-importance, "that I am one of the last pillars of rational thought in this field. A beacon of truth in a sea of misinformation." Nigel's eyes glowed. "Undoubtedly, sir." He nodded so hard his glasses nearly slipped off his nose. "The foremost authority." Leland sighed deeply, as if burdened by his own greatness. "Yes, Nigel. Yes, I suppose I am." He straightened in his chair, renewed. "Well, then," he said, clapping his hands together. Let's draft a follow-up statement, something to really drive home the point. This is a natural phenomenon, nothing more, and any suggestions to the contrary are scientifically bankrupt nonsense. Brilliant idea, sir. Nigel scrambled for a notepad, his pen poised like a devoted scribe recording scripture. As Leland began dictating, the words flowing like gospel, a small part of him, a part he would never acknowledge, wondered if the universe truly was as indifferent as he claimed. But he shoved the thought away. There was no room for doubt.